Many thanks for staying with us. Now, there are reports of escalation of violence in Benue State. Suspected herdsmen allegedly launched a fresh attack on Otobi community in the Akpa district of Otupo local government area of Benue State on Tuesday evening. At the moment, several lives have been lost while hundreds of persons are displaced. The lawmaker representing Otupo Akpa constituency in the Benue State House of Assembly, Kennedy Angbo, confirmed the attack, which he said began around 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Now, in a phone conversation, Angbo disclosed that 3 corpses had already been recovered, with many more people feared killed. And this came hours after similar attacks in Gialuwa village in Gwer West local government area, resulting in the displacement of numerous residents. Now, the governor of Plateau State, Khaled Mukfan, has reassured the people of Plateau State of his determination to ensure adequate safety of both lives and property in the state. The governor was speaking when he paid a condolence visit to the monarch of Irigwe chiefdom and the people of the local government area of Bassa following the Sunday midnight attack on 2 communities of Rike and Kimakba. News Central's Chizoba Anyuwe tells us more.
This was the mood of Irigwe community members, mostly women and children, at the visit of Governor Caleb Mutfwang a few days after the violent attacks that took many lives and left property destroyed in their community. Governor Mutfwang came with security chiefs in Plateau State and the State Executive Council to commiserate with the people of the community.
The whole nation is mourning with you. The international community is mourning with you. That's why you can see here today, government machinery has been halted. And we are here not only with the State Executive Council, but the State Security Council is also here because we share your pain. We have made investments in security, but like all human arrangements, sometimes they fail.
He assured of the provision of necessary security measures to ensure a more secure Plateau State as a whole.
We are going to make sure that we provide all the necessary surveillance that we need to provide. But let me remind you that whatever arrangements the security agencies do, that is only part of the solution. The solution must come from the community. We have come to a point in time in Nigeria where every community must make arrangement to defend itself. That is it. There is no shying away from this. And let me assure you that I will never encourage lawlessness.
The royal father of Irigwe chiefdom regretted that the drone earlier sighted in their community isn't functional. He expressed hope that things will change for the better.
We are going to abide by the law of this country. We don't want to take to revenge. We don't want to go and fight anybody. This is a place where God has planted us. So you are talking to our youth. I always challenge them to rise up and defend and control and see that our community lives in peace.
While the visit of the governor is assuring, what will be more reassuring for the people of these communities is for adequate machinery to be put in place to ensure better and lasting security for them. In Bassa local government area of Plateau State, for News Central, Chizoba Anyuwe.
All right, that was the report on from Chizoba Anyowe, giving us more update from the north. Now, for more on the plight of Nigerians over escalating insecurity in parts of the country, I'm now joined by public affairs analyst Taiwo Olakbade, who will be discussing this with us. You're very much welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, Mr. Olakbade, as a Nigerian, are you worried about everything that's going on?
As a Nigerian, I'm worried. And I think that should also be applicable to every other Nigerian, be it across religious, tribal, whatever affiliations that you belong, you must be worried, because we are talking about lives of innocent people. And like they used to say, that injury to one is injury to all. You won't say, I don't know them, they are not my family members. So long that they are bona fide Nigerians like you and I, we must be sympathetic to their cause. And I keep asking, what exactly is the reason for this killing? This is not just happening under this government. It has been an age-long crisis, killing in Plateau State. And I wonder why, or how rather, that we have not been able to find the root cause of this killing. Some people say maybe they want to send them from their ancestral abode, maybe for famines and the like, or for cattle rearing. For me, I think it goes beyond that. And for the governor to have described this as genocide, is, you know the meaning of genocide? When, you know, people are trying to erase, you know, a tribe from existence. And that's exactly what Plateau has been suffering in the last 2 or 3 weeks thereabout. And it's quite unfortunate. And it is a wake-up call for us as a nation. We must focus attention on Plateau. We shouldn't say it is not happening in my state. Whether we like it or not, do we have one relative, either, you know, by extension, in Plateau State, in Benue State? So it is a clarion call for all of us as Nigerians to stand up to this and say no to further killings in Plateau, no to further killings in Benue, no to further killings in Taraba, Nasarawa, and every part of our country. We must stand up and say no to further killings.
Okay, so we have been hearing time and time again about the security architecture. You know, we've seen that so much has been put into security. We've tried to ramp up our technology when it comes to security and things like that. But still, it feels as though the security is still not enough to tackle the challenges that we face in terms of insecurity. So do you think that our security architecture is overwhelmed? Or do you suspect corruption in the security systems that are responsible for some of these cracks?
Well, let me take it from the first word, overwhelmed. Of course, I can't subscribe to the fact that they are overwhelmed, because Nigeria is a country of well over 200 million. And all our security apparatus, be it the military, Navy, Army, Air Force, the police, NSDC, and the likes, and even the paramilitary, I'm not sure we have a figure of about 1,500,000. I'm not sure we have that figure. I'm even being generous to say 1,500,000. That's 1.5. Can security apparatus or outfit of 1.5 million, you know, well police a population of well over 200? It's not rocket science. And that's why you can see that the military is now also appealing to Nigerians, come and voluntarily join the army. That's why even the police are also talking about recruitment, because we have a deficit in this regard. It's lopsided, whether we like it or not. It's not rocket science. And you know that in terms even of our military, they are overstretched. Do you know how many Operation Karindaji, several operations that have been undertaken by the military, particularly in the northeast and even in the Middle Belt region? But sadly, despite the deployment of the military, we have seen these senseless killings of innocent lives continued unabated. And that will raise the question that, are the military really, you know, keeping their tabs, keeping their eyes, or beaming searchlight on where this killing is continuing to occur? It shouldn't be a kind of when they now kill and leave the people or decide the town. The military now moving or police or the police moving. They need to be proactive. And in terms of your second question as regards logistics or deployment of infrastructure, for me, I'm not a security expert, but I know we have drone. How come that our military has not, I'm not saying that maybe they are not really using it, but Nigerians believe that maybe they have not really deployed the drones effectively and efficiently. Because these people that comes into the Basa to kill well over 50 people between Monday morning and Monday afternoon, they are not ghosts. Are we saying we don't know their whereabouts? The people that invaded the Bogos, the Bagos community about a week ago and killed well over about 60, 70 people of Plateau. Are we saying that these people, we can't trace them? Are we saying that when they come into this village and they left after these killings, there is no trace of them at all? I don't want to believe that. And that's why some people are also saying that there is corruption, or some of our military, of our security apparatus are also complicit in this regard.
So we hear that Governor Caleb Mutfwang has, advised that we might have to resort to community defense. So basically, individuals or communities having to defend themselves. How healthy would you say this is for our democracy?
Well, of course, sometimes they say that a very hard, tough situation maybe may require tough times or tough decisions to deal with. We saw what happened with the killings of 16 hunters in Orome in Edo State about 2 or 3 weeks ago, thereabouts. And for those in that community, they said, according to them, that they've experienced senseless killing of innocent life for more than 1 decade, for more than 10 years. And they have not seen any help coming to their hand. Of course, nobody will subscribe to jungle justice. Nobody will ever say that we take laws into your hands. But when it becomes so apparent that government can no longer guarantee your safety, what do? You want to resort to self-help. And that's why the governor, for this last killing, when he was addressing his people, said that I think it is right time for the boys, according to what he said, that for the men to stop sleeping, that we should also constitute a vigilante so that we can also monitor, you can also watch over your people. So in that case, that means we can interpret the statement to mean that the security apparatus has failed the Plateau State. That's the meaning. If governor is now asking the people of the state to stand up and shouldn't sleep any longer, particularly the men, I'm sure you have the tape. He said it categorically. So the implication of that is the state has failed them. When I say the state in this regard, I mean our regular security, be it the police, be it the military, army, navy, as the case may be. That means they failed the people of Plateau State. And that's why the governor is also asking the people that it is high time that you also mobilize yourself and stand up to defend your people, defend your community, but don't take laws into your hands. You know, the governor was also somehow using diplomacy that mere saying that you shouldn't sleep any longer does not mean that you now take laws into their hands. And I'm also happy that the governor has also pronounced a kind of curfew restriction that they shouldn't see motorcycles, loitering around some of these communities from maybe 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. That is also one of the measures to curb these senseless killings, because from the reports that we have gathered, that these people invade these villages on a bike, like 3-4 of them on a bike with very powerful ammunitions. And what do we expect people who are armless, who are innocent, who do not even think that they deserve such invasion of their community? What do they expect them to come up with? So now it is time for the people of Plateau to rise up to this occasion, and also for our conventional security apparatus to ensure that they are also not complicit in this regard, to wake up and be proactive and ensure that this will be the last set of killings of innocent people in Plateau State, Benue State, and every part of the country.
Okay, so very quickly, I mean, I know that you have mentioned proactiveness, but what would be your further advice to the governor and, of course, to the people when it comes to tackling insecurity?
Well, no doubt, because the governor himself has described this as genocide. And when you are talking about genocide, you are not talking about kidnappers. You are not talking about bandits. You are talking about purely terrorists. So let us call them what they are. These people who are taking the lives of innocent farmers, innocent people in Benue State, in Taraba State, in Plateau State, they are purely, simply terrorists. And if they are terrorists, what do we expect? That means the state should ensure that these people are fished out, these people are meant to face the full wrath of the law, and ensure that they are accordingly prosecuted to serve as deterrence to others. And I think this is high time that President Bola Tinubu, if possible, also declare a state of emergency on insecurity in the country, whether we like it or not. We can't allow Plateau to go down. I think that is the plan of the people who are waging war against the innocent people of Plateau State, of Benue State. We should stop we can't continue to do mass burial. Why? Even the countries at war, they don't lose up to the way we are losing our people, innocent lives. You see children being killed, you see women being killed, you see women being raped. There must be an end to this. And I believe President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should really focus more on what is going on in Plateau State. There's nothing bad about declaring a state of emergency in terms of security nationwide, not just in Plateau. And whether you like it or not, the people of Plateau State, they require federal might. They require federal intervention. The people of Benue State, because this has really gone beyond hand. It has gone beyond what the governors of those two states, particularly Plateau, can really say he want to deal with. Moreover, the governor, as the chief security officer of the state, cannot even give command to the commissioner of police. And that's why we're also advocating that we should also try and implement state police. If we have state police, then the governor can say, oh, my commissioner, we have a case at hand and we need our men to be deployed. Of course, the commissioner will listen and do the needful. But in a case where the commissioner will still need to take a directive from the AIG to DIG, and DIG to the IG of police, of course, things will have been bad before we can now see deployment of security officers, as the case may be.
All right, public affairs analyst Taiwo Olakpade, thank you so much for joining us to discuss this very crucial topic. Thank you so much for having me. You're still live with us in the news. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll be giving you more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Northern Nigeria's traditional leaders have called for the institutionalization of community-based security systems and the integration of modern technology to combat growing insecurity in the region. Now, speaking at the 7th Executive Committee meeting at the Northern Traditional Rulers Council in Maiduguri, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Muhammadu Saad Abubakar III, the Sheikh of Borno, emphasized the urgent need for local solutions backed by digital innovation. News Central's Umoru Kirawa completes this report.
From the seat of the Caliphate, Sokoto, to Zamfara and Katsina, stretching to Jos and Borno State, one major concern now in northern Nigeria is the killings across the length and breadth of the region. Traditional leaders of the northern region converged in Maiduguri to brainstorm, cross-fertilize ideas, and identify solutions.
If we want to resolve the problems in the north as leaders, we can do so. How? We sit together and discuss and take issues up one by one and say, this is what we are going to do. From the governors to the traditional institutions to the ulama to the common man on the street, what he should do to help the security agencies, the governorship, the political leadership, and us to bring to the BRS million these killings.
The Nigerian governors will work with the National Assembly to ensure that the role of the traditional rulers is captured in the Nigerian Constitution. I want to assure you that Borno, under my leadership, will inshallah ensure the insurgency ends before I leave office.
The meeting themed enhanced security for stability and development in the north So traditional leaders discussed the role of traditional institutions in fostering peace, particularly amidst insurgency, banditry, and farmer-herder conflicts.
Traditional rulers from the level of Miangwa, Argo, Dakachi, Hakimi, etc. must know your citizens. So KYC is know your citizens. That is my appeal to traditional rulers.
It is therefore essential that we continue to build on these successes while remaining vigilant against forces that threaten our collective peace.
All hands must be on deck to bring out solutions to these problems. And whenever we bring such solutions to the political leaders, let them know we're only helping them. We are not, we will never be in contention with the political leadership of the various governors and whatever.
The traditional leaders also called for a bill on the reinstatement of the roles of the traditional leaders to be enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria, as well as bill of the National Council of Traditional Leaders of Nigeria also formed part of their deliberations. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Now, environmental experts and humanitarian organizations working in Borno State are calling for a shift from reactive aid to proactive climate adaptation in response to the recurring floods that have devastated the region. This call was made during a post-flood reflection and risk mitigation planning session in the state. Umaru Kirawa also has his report.
The painful memory of 10 September 2025 still lingers, a day when floods ravaged Maiduguri, Jere, and several other communities across Borno State. According to the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, Borno remains one of the states at high risk of severe flooding.
We are here actually for a post-flood reflection and also a dialogue. This program is actually organized so that people that have experienced the recent flooding in Maiduguri can sit, learn from experiences, and also develop plans to mitigate future occurrences.
Experts express the importance of including displaced persons and women in the flood risk mitigation plan to ensure fairness and long-term sustainability in recovery efforts.
The State Emergency Management Agency may not be everywhere in the state, but young people are everywhere. If young people support them with perhaps information, among others, the service delivery will be very effective. As well as one of the challenges we have identified in the course of the engagement was that there's duplication of project during the flood support.
Borosolikin grandi rochiski anima buron katabdo egwenyen futu gulzana de njololon jinde la ya sayo zawonje la fatola gartu koltuso awala masu adishima do katabdo borosolike gwenyen mare ku hawari en kurman katabdo egwenye asandana mambema na do asalin jido ishinda chisti gullena borosolikin ka ugana sidia na da 3 to gullena.
Recommendations put forth include early and consistent desilting of waterways and the relocation of communities in vulnerable areas.
What we are going to have in this kind of mitigation plan is to see how these young people can bring solution to all of these problems, how they can design sensitization and awareness creation that can shape the communities in such a way that even when we have flood, it can be a splash flood that can have drainages that it can pass and many more. So these are the kind of things that we should expect, and also informing and influencing policies of government.
With the lessons learned and challenges clearly identified, stakeholders now say that the collaborative implementation of the mitigation plan is essential to prevent unforeseen disasters that could further endanger lives and property. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Now in River State, the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt has struck out a suit filed to challenge the defection of 27 members of the River State House of Assembly from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to the All Progressives Congress. The case brought by the Labour Party sought a declaration that the lawmakers' seats be rendered vacant following their alleged defection. However, in a ruling delivered on Tuesday, Justice Emmanuel Obile dismissed the case, basing his decision on a recent Supreme Court judgment, which, according to him, had already dealt with the legal questions surrounding the issue of defection. Now, Nigeria has cut electricity sale to junta-ruled Niger Republic to 46 megawatts from 80 megawatts. The cuts represent a 42% reduction in power supply to the country. Niger's energy minister, Hu Amadu, says the measure has led the country's electricity production to fall by 30 to 50% and forced state-owned power company Nigelec to impose planned power cuts that can last several days, especially in Niamey. Now back home, Nigeria is battling its own power crisis. The country generates just over 5,000 megawatts, far below the 30,000 needed due to gas shortages and infrastructure decay. Now, power generation companies warn of imminent shutdown over unpaid debts exceeding 4 trillion naira. Meanwhile, Nigeria Power Minister Adebayo Adelabu has pledged action, with the Finance Ministry stepping in to resolve the crisis and prevent a total grid collapse. The federal government has launched the Labor Employment and Empowerment Program, also known as LIP. According to the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, the initiative will prepare and equip citizens with modern skills to compete globally as technology takes a center stage in the global labor ecosystem. Our correspondent, Amadine Uyi, reports.
With about 151 million youth population in Nigeria, about 80 million of these remain unemployed. The figures, which presents a stark contrast to the unemployment rate of the country, presents a grave danger to national development.
Nigeria's unemployment challenge is not just a statistic. It is a clear and present danger to our collective future. The numbers speak for themselves, and they demand urgent, coordinated action.
In a bid to tackle this national concern, the federal government has launched the Labor Employment and Empowerment Program, also known as LEAP.
The Labor Employment and Empowerment Program, LEAP, is a well-considered response to a pressing national need. As jobs become increasingly vulnerable to technological disruption, our duty is not to lament, but to prepare.
LEAP is not just a program. It's not just a policy. It is an institutional shift, a signal that the Ministry of Labor and Employment is stepping forward to play its full constitutional role, training, upskilling, coordinating, and connecting Nigerians to meaningful work.
Job creation is a fundamental pillar of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. LEAP is more than just a program. It is a strategic national response to the evolving dynamics of work and employment in the 21st century. By addressing key pillars such as digital upskilling, access to global remote work opportunities, and comprehensive vocational and entrepreneurship training.
Senior officials say that the program presents an ambitious plan to help equip citizens with the right skills to make them globally competitive.
LEAP aims to provide comprehensive training that equips our people with the right skills to compete and contribute in today's global economy. And this intervention is just not about creating jobs. It is about transformation.
We are setting a clear national target to directly and indirectly create at least 2.5 million sustainable jobs within 2 years.
Employment is the best way to curb all social vices. People that are engaged, people that are working, will not think of other social vices. The level of militancy, the level of kidnapping will come to the barest minimum if we create jobs. And that is why the labor movement identifies with this 100%.
The program will also present opportunities for millions of youths to build their capacities and connect to the global labor ecosystem. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Now, Dr. Olisa Agbakoba, the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, has expressed worry over the sexual harassment claims made by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Now, according to Agbakoba, the allegations contain major contradictions that must be properly examined. In a press briefing with journalists, Agbakoba, who is Akpabio's counsel, stated that Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan believes she was sexually assaulted by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, on the 8th of December 2023. However, just one day later, on the 9th of December, she officially supported the Senate President on both her Instagram and X accounts. He went on to say that sexual harassment charges, especially in governance institutions, must be handled carefully to preserve the integrity of democratic institutions.
It's something that you cannot necessarily say, this is like stealing, this is the evidence of sexual harassment. You've got to take the entire picture into account in determining whether a case of sexual harassment is made out. Which is why, as I said, her story is not to be believed or disbelieved at this stage. The point here is, can Senator Natasha clarify, that's the issue, clarify the difference in her behavior and attitude on 2 days, back to back. That's all. A court action is not the best. Do you know the amount of time this has taken in the context of deviating from governance? We have big issues in Nigeria, and I was on TV yesterday talking about the big issues. So I don't think that Natasha, Natasha Akpabio's story should distract from governance.
Wave of public outcry is sweeping through the Ajegunle area of Lagos State as residents accuse the police of carrying out illegal arrests under the guise of maintaining law and order. And while the police say they're clamping down on crime in a neighborhood known for its high level of criminal activity, innocent citizens claim they're being wrongfully targeted. News Central's Israel Iferobo visited the area and now completes the story.
The other day, we watch ball for inside DSTV. Now, so then park, enter, carry gun, everybody run, leave DSTV.
According to them, they say that they are after the bad acts, but reaching the community, they took our own children, our own responsible children.
There is growing unrest in Ajegunle, a densely populated area in Lagos State, as residents raise serious concerns over what they describe as incessant and illegal arrest by members of the Nigerian police. Ajegunle is no stranger to some kind of unrest. For years, the area has battled issues ranging from cultism to armed robbery, making it a hotspot for police patrols. But in recent weeks, locals say that the operations meant to sanitize the area are instead terrorizing innocent citizens.
So as I was coming out from my street, we just saw the police. They are harassing people, raiding everybody. So due to my first experience, I now run away.
We are like 14 now, or 15. Even that day, I was supposed to escape because the policeman just hold my jeans.
We did nothing. We are only watching football. You guys came into our view center and carried us. So why are you taking us to Stark Force office?
The residents allege that these arrests often occur without warrant or proper investigation.
Any that I see the police, it's better I should run than wait.
While the police maintain that their presence in Ajegunle is to clamp down on crime, locals argue that the sweeping arrests are not only unlawful, but also counterproductive.
It has been a tough situation for a while. Sometimes we may be sitting down outside, you see the police, we started chasing everybody.
Others echo the same sentiment, describing a pattern of profiling and intimidation by officers. Efforts to get across to the Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer David Hunay at the time of this report were unsuccessful.
The way forward is we should call out for the government to come to our aid to help us in this community. Because at the end of the day, when they get our children arrested, if we went there for bail, they started from 100,000.
Maybe they just enter road. They enter road, they see young boy, they go in. Some people say they buy bread, akara. Night, some people they come from work. Once they just see the young boy, they carry you.
As residents continue to call for justice and accountability, community leaders are urging for a more humane approach to policing, one that targets criminals without criminalizing the innocent. For now, the streets of Ajegunle remain tense, not just from the threats of crime, but from the very people meant to uphold the law. In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ifirobo.
Now, rainstorm has wreaked havoc in Ukoton and Ubukodo communities of Okpe local government area of Delta State. Residents of the community were seen on Tuesday evening in viral videos and pictures wailing after the rainstorm destroyed property worth millions of naira. Now, according to them, the storm rained ice cubes, leading residents to wonder how possible could it be during the hot weather. Now, an eyewitness said, "We saw ice blocks falling from the sky during the torrential rainfall earlier today. This is unexplainable as it happened in the midst of severe heat." Now, coming up on the news, Amnesty urges probe of reckless crackdown on protests in Mozambique. We have the details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, hundreds of Tunisians took to the streets of Mazuna after a school wall collapsed, killing 3 high school students, sparking outrage over government neglect. Protesters blocked roads with burning tires and demanded justice, calling attention to years of underinvestment in inland regions like Mazuna. Now, the tragedy has reignited anger in a town just 70 kilometers from Sidi Bouzid, the cradle of Tunisia's 2011 revolution. Tunisia's powerful UGTT union called a nationwide school strike, condemning authorities for failing to protect students. President Kais Saied pledged urgent maintenance across schools, vowing to prevent similar tragedies. But many say promises aren't enough. Now, Amnesty International has accused Mozambican police of killing nearly 400 people during a violent crackdown on opposition protests following last October's disputed election. In a new report released on Wednesday, Amnesty cited eyewitness accounts and open-source data alleging excessive and indiscriminate force by police and military personnel and lack of accountability. Now, the protest erupted after President Daniel Chapo's contested victory, which international observers said was marred by irregularities. Rights groups say at least 388 people were killed over 3 months, with security forces firing metal pellets and live rounds into crowds, even from moving vehicles. Now, one victim, a man live-streaming police actions, was reportedly shot in the back. The government has yet to respond as international calls for accountability grow louder. Now, Mauritius' former finance minister, Ringanadin Padiachi, has been arrested on Wednesday in a second fraud case just 2 days after being released on bail in another. Police say the latest charges involve a $1 million payment from the Mauritius Investment Corporation to Menlo Parks Limited, a political polling firm. Padiachi, already accused of inflating the value of East Coast hotel investment costing $6.7 million, now faces fresh questioning. The arrest follows a broader probe involving former central bank governor Harvesh Simgola, also linked to both cases. Now, the Financial Crimes Commission is leading investigations amid rising concerns about corruption and economic mismanagement. However, Prime Minister Navin Ramgoolam, government elected last year, and his campaign was marked by concerns about the political and economic stability of one of Africa's wealthiest stable democracies. Still to come on the news, former President Biden condemns Trump's social security cuts. We have the details of this and more after the break. And now to stories outside the African continent. Former President Joe Biden delivered his first major public speech since leaving office, addressing a conference in Chicago on the 15th of April 2025. Now, in his remarks, Biden criticized the Trump administration's handling of Social Security, accusing it of endangering benefits of 73 million seniors by implementing staffing cuts and office closures within the Social Security Administration. Now, the speech coincided with a National Social Security Day of Action, during which Democrats organized protests against proposed reductions to the program. And while Biden's reemergence has been welcomed by some Democrats, others expressed concern over his return to the public sphere, fearing it could complicate the party's messaging ahead of 2026 midterm elections. Now, China on Wednesday warned it is not afraid of a trade war with the United States following sharp new tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump. Beijing's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian urged Washington to stop blackmail and threats and instead engage in talks based on equality and mutual benefit. Now, Trump recently raised tariffs by 145% on Chinese goods, targeting illicit drug components like fentanyl and penalizing what he calls unfair trade practices. However, tech items like smartphones and laptops received a temporary reprieve. Now, Trump insists the ball is in China's court, pushing Beijing to strike a deal. However, China fired back, saying it didn't start the tariff war and warned again that it is ready if forced to fight. And to sports, local organizing committee of the 22nd National Sports Festival, tagged the Gateway Games, have unveiled the official logo, theme song and mascot at the colorful ceremony in Abeokuta. Representing the Ogun State Governor, Deputy Governor Noimot Salako Oyedele led the event at the June 12 Cultural Center. The logo, featuring Ogun's signature lemon green and yellow, was first revealed, followed by the official theme song titled Ekabo, a Yoruba word for welcome, composed by Dr. Bayo Adepetun. Now, the highlight was the mascot unveiling. Named Omogun, the animated character thrilled guests by saluting the crowd and greeting dignitaries. The Gateway Games will run from May 16 to May 31st, welcoming athletes and visitors nationwide to Ogun State. Still on sports, Rangers International head coach Fidelis Ilechukwu is confident his side can overcome defending champions Bendel Insurance in today's President Federation Cup round of 16 showdown. And the much-anticipated fixture, a repeat of the 2023 final, takes place at 4 p.m. at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena in Lagos. Now, despite Rangers' recent shock home defeat to Heartland and ongoing injury woes, Ilechukwu believes the Flying Antelopes have enough firepower to secure a quarter-final spot. Insurance defeated Adamawa United 3-0 in the last round, while Rangers edged Heartland FC on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The fixture rekindles the historic rivalry, with both teams having met in 3 Federation Cup finals, Insurance winning twice in 1978 and 2023, and Rangers once in 1981. And the Flying Eagles are intensifying preparations for the 2025 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, with head coach Aliou Zubairu confident in the team's ability to secure a World Cup ticket. Nigeria captain Daniel Bamaye is equally focused on winning the continental title, which also guarantees qualification for the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile. The 7-time champions recently wrapped up the second phase of training in Katsina and have regrouped in Abuja ahead of their final camp. Nigeria is placed in Group B alongside Tunisia, Kenya, and Morocco. The opening match is against Tunisia on the 28th of April. Now, the team departs from Cairo this weekend for a final training camp, including 2 friendlies on the 23rd of April and 26th. Well, that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Now, we told you that many fear dead and hundreds more displaced as fresh attacks by suspected herdsmen hit Benue communities. We also mentioned Niger to experience blackouts as Nigeria cuts electricity sale to its junta-led neighborhood by 42%. And finally, we told you that Amnesty International accuses Mozambican police of killing nearly 400 people during crackdown on opposition protests over a disputed election. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Also, do want to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Bosuru.